What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today is May the 1st. I want to give you a quick pre-market update over some of the hot movers and what big money is doing today. Before we get into any of that though, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with data points, we do have a big one coming out at 9 a.m. That is manufacturing. Current forecast is 47.2. So of course 50 is a key pivot for that. So if it does for whatever reason come in a little bit higher than 50 or even at 50, that will show and indicate a expansion is occurring in the broader market. Flip side will occur, so if it is below 50, shows more of a contraction, although the last couple of reports have been somewhat negative, so this could be a very good surprise if so. But if this does come in a little bit worse for wear, similar to, for instance, yesterday, we did have GDP, PCE, ADP, employment, all negative. Day prior, we also had negative data. So I think the market is very just on the edge, a little bit jumpy. So if this is negative, anticipate a pullback, similar to what's happened pretty much every single day. But nonetheless, though, we are having a lot of good momentum this morning because of companies unveiling the earnings. So a lot of big names all hit a home run. So Dow is up 0.7, S&P up 1.1, NASDAQ up 1.72. So that is what's fueling a lot of the optimism. Fear and greed index kind of maintained itself over the last couple of trading days, so still under the fear category, 36, so meaning people's appetite for risk has improved, but isn't where it once was, obviously. But getting right to it, SoFi is up 2.8% because of Robinhood's earnings. So just being able to piggyback off of that, because no news, no SEC filings. Then again, you could also, SoFi might be seen as a little bit more of a value play because they did have pretty phenomenal earnings, as you can kind of see. So on the 29th before the market, came in at 6 cents for the earnings per share. So they did beat it by 3 cents. Absolutely home run for that. Even revenue, they did beat it by 31.81 million, gave good future guidance, but since then it went down. So it's kind of a frustrating stock. So I feel like today's push higher is also incorporating a little bit more of a push because of SoFi's actual earnings. But 13.84% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 150.1 million shares overall are being shorted right now, with it at 1287, trading between this R1 and the pivot. Key support to watch for today is 1246. So if manufacturing is negative, just kind of watch for that to be that kind of line in the sand. Flip side, 1401 is going to be that next strong target / resistance, which even if manufacturing does come in a little bit better than anticipated, I don't see that being touched today. Unfortunately, it did bounce off of that general area from their earnings, so we do know that's a very strong kind of resistance point. But moving on, Microsoft, so they are up just shy around 9%. They had a kick-ass earnings, as you can kind of see, gave good future guidance, beat on all the key metrics. There's honestly nothing really negative about this. So really good ability to kick ass, take names, and of course I think a lot of stocks are also moving up because of Microsoft's earnings. So like I kind of mentioned, companies unveiling the earnings is why we are moving higher. 0.68% of the free floats being shorted. Works out to be 50.27 million shares. Microsoft definitely is in the squeeze play, but you can see shorts did return quite a lot leading into their earnings. So they obviously knew that Microsoft was most likely going to hit a home run. But a couple of key points to watch for today, with it at 430, it is trading between this R1 and the pivot. So 419 will be a strong support, and then 458 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So I do feel that it might potentially gravitate back towards this pivot point right here, but anything is possible, right? I don't see this R1 being touched, even if good manufacturing data does come out. So just kind of trade accordingly. Most likely it's just going to trade within this range. But nonetheless, though, I think their earnings really did signal that they're a force to be reckoned with, and any potential dip is a buying opportunity. And I think the market's starting to learn that, not even just with Microsoft, but with a lot of companies. But moving on, Meta. So they are up 6.33%, similarly because of their earnings. Huge beat. So all key metrics were a beat, good future guidance. And so yeah, they are a cash cow. So anyone looking for safety, security, Meta is definitely where it's at. But 1.45% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 31.62 million shares. Again, not a squeeze play, but interesting to see that shorts did recently increase and double down almost by roughly 50% for the most part. So it was roughly 1% short interest back in March, and then leading into the earnings it was 1.45. So shorts actually did feel that Meta was going to clearly miss on their earnings, so they're in for a little bit of a surprise today, but nonetheless it's not a squeeze play whatsoever. Couple key points though with it at 587 ish. It is trading between these 2 points, so this pivot in this S1. 554 is going to be a strong support. 603 is going to be the next strong target. So I do feel throughout the trading day it is going to gravitate towards this pivot point of 603, only because in comparison, Meta, in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks, has lagged. So I feel like they have that extra push that needs to be made up. So the 603 might be that kind of target if you're looking at swing trading or potentially just whatever day trading. But I do feel at least today it'll be getting to that 603. That 554 I don't see being touched whatsoever today, even if negative data comes out. But moving on, Robinhood. And yes, all three of these companies are pretty much the culprits on exactly why the market is moving higher. But at the same time, they are both within the top 10 most heavily traded so far this morning. So big money is definitely paying attention to them. Robinhood is up 4.62%. So like I kind of mentioned already, they're really pushing fintechs higher, SoFi and a couple others. And they as well had kick-ass earnings, so beat on a lot of the key metrics, announced and I believe increased their buyback. They're like a very innovative beast, and shows that consumers are out there still wanting to invest. A lot of demand, even in crypto. I think it was revenue was 250 or 255 million just in crypto. So very good profitable business. That being said, 3.84% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 29.15 million shares. Not a squeeze play, but a little bit more shorted than your average large cap. But similar to Meta though, shorts were really increasing leading into the earnings, insinuating they felt it was going to be a miss. So it went from about 1.86% in February to a peak of just shy of 4%. So yeah, they really did feel that Robinhood was going to flop on their earnings. So they're going to be in for a little bit of a surprise as well. But right now with it at 51.40, it is right above this R1. So 51.39 will be that key pivot, good support level. And then aside from that, 56.02 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. In my opinion, I think it is going to settle between this R2 and this R1 today. I don't know if it'll have enough to break above this 56, but nonetheless, it should be trading within this range. And I think that's kind of fair to assume given what they did give for guidance and everything. But moving on, as far as this ticker NAOV, it is up 65.03%. As you can see, a lot of crazy volatility. So low end of $2, it had a peak of roughly $7, so it's all over the place. And so it is up 62.94%. And what is rather odd is there isn't really any kind of news to cause any of this. The last news that did come out was April 11th, and that was just showing that they did regain NASDAQ compliance, and which is always a good positive thing. Then again, they did also do a reverse stock split in March, so March 14th, 2025, a 1-for-11. And yeah, so that's obviously why they did regain it. But yesterday it went down 22.91, up 62.94. So this one is kind of an interesting one. This is actually the most heavily traded stock so far this morning. So a lot of people are going to be swing trading it and whatever. But as far as a long-term investment, I like concrete news to be one of the main reasons why a stock really moves higher. So No articles have come out about this, nothing, no SEC filings, as you can kind of see right over here. So it is a very interesting type of kind of scenario. But again, this S1 did come out on Wednesday, but that would really justify the pullback on the 22nd, but nothing today. When it comes down to shorts, 10.02% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 63,000 shares. Then again, this is kind of what the market does like to squeeze, is somewhat heavily shorted, low float, so it does meet that criteria. So maybe something to keep in mind. But with it at 467, it is trading right below this R1, so 483 is going to be a key kind of target / resistance, followed by 563 and then 692. So you never know, with enough momentum, and if, let's say, just big money does target your stock, such as this, for today to be the focus of like day trades, it could go up quite significantly. So just watch for these kind of levels. Flip side, 352 or 354, and then 225 is going to be the following support levels. So most likely, I do feel like it is going to probably, I would say, settle between this R1 and the pivot. But then again, obviously this is going up based on no news, so it could go up a little bit higher. So just do your own due diligence at the end of the day. So let me know your thoughts on these stocks. Is there any other stocks that's kind of floating your boat? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point, so definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.